What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're diving back in with the Destiny 2 news, drama, and more. And of course this week we got a new update to D2, and that came with some unexpected changes. Bungie have now gone ahead and given us a justification for the Eager's Edge nerf. They also finally tell us when to expect a fix for the missing Hunter exotic, so we should be getting an October update with more changes and the launch of Festival of the Lost. Plus today we get a look at some new Lightfall artwork which teases the new raid, some crazy zones aboard Callus's ship, and we've got more to cover in the video. So guys, as always, I hope you enjoy this one, but without further delay, let's get into it. Firstly, today let's cover a few updates from Bungie, and one of the updates includes a change to tower lobbies. So Bungie Help said to alleviate performance issues in the tower, we are temporarily reducing the population cap to 20 players while we investigate the underlying cause. Of course, over the years, we've seen a few issues in the tower. Sometimes they can be a bit laggy, or they can take a long time to load, and as far as we know, often, that is because of the larger number of players either in the tower or trying to connect to the tower. Who knows, maybe it'd be better to reduce the number permanently to try and make it a smoother experience in general. Up next, this week we got a new hotfix to Destiny 2, and the community went a bit wild. The changes that we expected to see in the update have made it easier to acquire deep sight weapons for Season 18, which is good, and I'll link the patch info down below. However, we didn't get a fix for the Gaia Falcon's Hauberk, which Bungie have now responded on that front and said, a fix for the Hunter exotic armor has been identified and is scheduled to be shipped out in mid-October. And so a couple more weeks where that exotic will be disabled, and that mid-October update sounds like it'll be the one where Festival of the Lost is launched into the game. And we've had previews of a new weapon, armor, and cosmetics outlined in our recent video, which I'll link below. Nonetheless, the exotic chest piece will be fixed. However, in the update this week, Bungie also nerfed Eager Edge, and they say they fixed an issue where Eager Edge could be used multiple times in a single activation. And a lot of players are frustrated about this, partially because an Eager Edge other half isn't an easy thing to come by, but also because it's pretty fun. When I described it as a nerf, some players said, hey, it's just a fix because it was a known issue. However, Arioja on Reddit pointed out that it goes further than just a base fix to the perk, as the weapon now basically tracks a hard velocity cap, and when you hit that velocity cap, it immediately deactivates Eager Edge. And so if a character is moving at full speed, the perk actually can't be used whatsoever. That includes when you enter a launch cannon, or even standing on a moving object of some sort. And so on top of not being able to be used multiple times in a row, if a character's moving quick enough, you're technically not allowed to use the perk at all and it won't activate. And that definitely is beyond just fixing a known issue with the perk. And so on that front, DMG responded and said, for enhanced Eager Edge, the team was finding numerous issues where the perk could be used to skip encounters, break mechanics, and generally cause issues with the game. However, on the comms side, we always seek to call out changes like this ahead of time, while also providing the dev and commentary insight to keep you in the loop. But with hotfixes coming more quickly of late, this slipped through, and we're talking to the team on how we can better prep in the future. And he adds that timing-wise, some changes can be developed rather quick, and can be held for future hotfixes and patches so they aren't felt to be as targeted. If this were in a seasonal patch with a bunch of weapon and ability changes, it would still sting, but general buffs could help the overall mood. And it says for this specific change, there wasn't a rush on the part of the dev side, it just happened to be assigned to this hotfix, got the appropriate test pass, and went out of the door. But we'll be talking to the team about timing for changes like this moving forward. And so a bit of an insight there from DMG about the change, although I doubt it will do much to calm player frustrations about it at the moment. So as always, give your thoughts on Eager Edge, the change, whether you thought it was necessary, and hopefully we'll start to get a little bit more communication because I think that was a big component here. It was an unexpected and very sudden change, offset against the fact that there are other bugs and issues which players have desperately been waiting to see fixed and haven't made it into any updates yet. So again, feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section. But another interesting thing in the news over the past few days, and lots of players have been receiving Destiny 2 bans. And that includes a few folks who are well known in the community. And it's been interesting because Bungie have banned and then unbanned certain people after fairly short periods of time. So Bungie Help said that human error on a new cheat detection caused some incorrect bans to occur this week. So they've turned the new cheat detection off while they investigate the error and process the related unbans. And they add that all pre-existing anti-cheat systems are still in effect, and that there'll be more details in the TWAB this week. So some weird stuff been going on this week. Let us know if any of you or people you know have been affected by those bans. Of course, there are always folks who do use cheats, but it certainly appears that over the past week there have been a lot of false bans, so at least that should be improved for the moment. There was also an announcement the other day that Google Stadia is going to be shut down next year. Obviously, Google have decided that the platform isn't viable for whatever reason, but there is definitely a bit of a Destiny player base on the platform. And one of the moderators on the Bungie forum said, "We've just learned about Stadia shutting down and have begun conversations about next steps for our players, and we'll announce and send out information regarding the Stadia accounts once we have a plan of action." And obviously the main thing that Bungie can do is at least protect all of the accounts so that players can access their accounts on other platforms, of course. And that shouldn't be a big deal because it's all saved on Bungie's side anyway, but I'll keep you posted if there are any further announcements regarding that soon. Up next though, let's briefly touch on the weekly story, which in itself was fairly uneventful, but next week will be the final part of the season quest, so that may be a bit more interesting. And beyond that, we know that there'll be some more season content in the form of a community event, probably later on in the season. But otherwise, this week, Spider tells us a short tale of Misrak's past and one of their first interactions. So if you want a recap, here's the dialogue from this week.
Good of you to visit, Captain. Seems like only yesterday I loaned you my ship. And now you're known across the system. Flashy. Not my style. It's safer in the shadows. I learned that long ago from a handsome young fellow named Rakis. He served the old crews for a time. Got double-crossed. Spent the rest of his life running. Eventually, someone claimed a bounty on poor Rakis. He called himself Spider. Savvy? Cashed in the past, bought a future. Walked away, reborn, and never looked back. Like you Guardians do. Like my dear boy Crow. Like Misrax, pretending his old life never happened. Oh, he's changed a bit over the years, but the old fury is still inside him, somewhere. It's best he not forget that.
The next thing I wanted to talk about here, but we've just got a new look at some concept art for Lightfall over the past few days. And this was shared by an artist, Marco Iozzi, and they're part of the team that work on some of the cinematic content for Destiny. And some of the things that they've posted are pretty interesting. I can't actually find these on their website now, I'm viewing this on the gamepost.com. But initially there's a cool piece of concept art for one of the trailer shots. And that's of course where we can see the Kala ship and the pyramids right there. There are more shots of that here, and it really helps to give a sense of the scale of the fleet there that are attacking. We also get a look at the underside of a pyramid ship, interestingly. We know that they do have these kind of gravity lifts with the port on the underside, but it's cool to get a better look at them. And then things get pretty interesting. Right here are some concepts for Callus, mainly for the environment that Callus is in. And there are various runes and icons similar to what we've seen in other darkness architecture, even some stuff similar to the Enclave on Mars. And then Callus is almost in this kind of control panel here, once again filled with strange symbols and surrounded by darkness architecture. Looks like Callus has got a bit of an RGB disco thing going on. And then one of the images gets very interesting and isn't typically something that we'd ever get to have a look at in any form before a major release. And it does link to an upcoming raid potentially, so that spoiler alert is necessary, although, given that this was posted, it isn't clear whether it's something that was scrapped or is an early idea, or potentially whether we will see this in the game, but these were listed as raid boss environment designs. And we can see the kind of architectural and symmetrical layout of the room is somewhat typical of what we'd see in a raid encounter. There is actually an enemy right there in the middle too. Looks potentially thematically somewhat similar to Rorke or one of the Tormentors. But again, it isn't clear if that's actually a boss or real enemy. It could be a placeholder or something that's been scrapped, we just don't know. But at least we can play a fun game with it, I suppose. And we'll see if either the encounter space or the enemy right there is something that we'll encounter in Lightfall. Either way, I thought it was worth taking a look at that, and I'd love to get any thoughts from you guys below. This isn't the first time that we've had early glimpses of content from artists and people who've worked on the game. Just a few months back before Lightfall was actually revealed, a dev showcasing a finisher on their page had a video clip where we see a new subclass icon right there and the green color for the subclass. And then we later got the confirmation that Strand was going to launch, and so you never really know what you might potentially see. Once again, let us know what you think down below, or any things that you're looking forward to in Lightfall. But for today, guys, that is everything that we have to round up in the video. And so as always, I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, be sure to get subscribed to the channel so I can keep you up to date with the game. Also, a rating below really does help us out. But as always, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. And whatever you get up to, I hope you have an awesome day.